Hey guys, it's Tahira and Happy New Year. It is officially 2026. It is about a week into 2026 the day I'm filming this, and I have already started on my 2026 reading, but today I'm actually going to be reflecting a little bit on my 2025 reading. This is gonna be like mainly a stats video, basically going through my Goodreads year in books, my Fable like wrap up for 2025, as well as some like other stats I was tracking through the year. And I just thought it'd be a fun way to kind of see what we're reading, what our trends are, how I might want to change them maybe in like the next years. And yeah, I feel like this year's is gonna be not as interesting because I don't have anything to really compare to, because this is the first year I'm kind of doing this. But I feel like it'd be cool like in the future to see like how my reading tastes have maybe evolving or changing, if I'm reading more of a genre or less of a genre as years go by. So I think that'd be pretty interesting. So actually I'm gonna be screen recording my screen, and I will be going through my Goodreads year in books and Fable stuff on here, and then I'll pop up the screen recording so you can see exactly what is happening. If I open up my Goodreads, and I can immediately see my year in books on my profile, and if I open it up, okay, so I read 22,934 pages in 2025, and I read 54 books. I already knew that. Okay, I'm confused. They have this like little play button at the bottom and nothing's really happening. Anyway, if I go down, I can see that my shortest book was the novella 12 by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the novella in the natural series, and I thought it was just okay. And then my longest book was Keeping 13, where the ebook came out to be 937 pages, and it felt just as long as it was. I don't know what it was about this book, but it just felt so long. I think because it's a contemporary and there's only so much you can do in a contemporary before like scenes start to get like repetitive, so I just definitely was feeling that in this book. And although I enjoyed it, I think just a lot could be cut out, and honestly the length was definitely hindering my reading experience of it. Anyways, my average book length was 424 pages, which is pretty good. I feel like that's pretty solid. I feel like it's longer than last year's. I don't remember, but I have been reading a lot more fantasy in the last year, like fantasy romances, so I feel like that's definitely contributing. Yeah, my most shelved was The Love Hypothesis. I read Ali Hazelwood for the first time last year. And then my least popular book was Terror at the Gates, which still has quite a bit of readership. It's because I usually read books that other people have been talking about. It's very rare actually now that I read a book where like I've heard no one talk about it and has like very little reviews. I feel like I rely a lot on reviews and ratings in general now, just with the nature of like how the book community works. My average rating was a 3.5, which is definitely wrong because Goodreads does not do star rating, so I think Fable will definitely have more of an accurate star rating for me. My highest rated, okay, so the women was like, I think the average rating was the highest, and then, okay, first review gave 3.5 stars, and then it just kind of goes through all my books. Okay, my last year was a really good book. It was a 4.75 star read. Yes, I'm gonna be annoying with the 0.25 star difference, but I'm so glad that I ended the year off with that. Okay, I don't know what happened here because I've seen people do like really cute graphics for their Goodreads year books. I don't know why I didn't get that. Anyways, now it's time for Fable. If I go to my profile, I can immediately see my 2025 reading wrap up. Let's just go ahead and click that. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit more involved. I like that. I don't like that Goodreads is just one kind of thing that you scroll through. It's not very interesting visually. I feel like this is a lot better and I'm already loving it. Okay. This is cool. I like the design of this, honestly. I didn't know what to expect at all, honestly, for the Fable. Okay, let's go next. Oh, no, last one. Next. Okay, let's look back at this year's journey and the stories you explored. Okay, 54 books, reaching 108% of my goal. My goal was 50, so I got just over that. Yep, I exceeded my goal of 50. Let's see, this year you read for 335 days. Okay, so I read almost every single day of last year, which I usually do. I guess it was only about a month of days where I didn't read. Average book is 7 days, makes sense with the amount of books that I read. And then my longest streak was 175 days. Yeah, I read pretty much every day almost, even if it's just a little bit, so. Okay, I do read quite a bit of romance. I feel like I don't know why I'm in the top 10%. I feel like I didn't read that much. Okay, Love Hypothesis. Again, this matches with Goodreads. That's good. Next one. Yeah, okay, Shield of Sparrows. Oh shoot. Yeah, Shield of Sparrows was definitely an unpopular book for me. Everyone seemed to love it, but I did not like that book. Next one. 3 books I made this year special. Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen here. Oh, I think it's asking for my best book of the year, but like it's asking me to. Okay, your best book of the year. Okay, it's for sure Sunrise on the Reaping. Select book. Oh wait, is this asking for opinions or is it like a quiz? Most criminally underrated? Am I gonna have to go through all these books? The problem with this is that I read mostly hyped books, so I don't read a ton that is criminally underrated like that. You know what? I'm just gonna say Every Heart a Doorway because I feel like that had its moment like a while ago, but no one really talks about it anymore, so I'm just gonna pick that. And then Most Beautiful Cover. Okay. Is it gonna make me scroll through? Okay, I'm just gonna pick the first one that I see that I really like. Actually, you know what? I think I have one in mind that I really, really love. And that is the, if I can, oh yeah, there it is. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I just love the colors of it and just like how colorful it is. I just love like the overall just composition of it as well. So I'm gonna select that one. Okay, so I chose my, okay. So I chose my own kind of thing. Oh, I think also the reason I was doing romance is because it lumps all romance together, whether it's contemporary or fantasy romance. So I think that's why I'm reading so much romance that says. Okay, I already did this, so I'm not gonna do that. Let's see what this says. Okay, and these are just some graphics. Okay, that was cute. I like that. I like that they didn't have a lot of like AI generated kind of blurbs about you. Because I know that they definitely got into trouble for that last year, like in 2024. But I actually do have a breakdown of some other stuff that I was tracking throughout the year just on my own, like literally in Google Sheets. So I will put up screenshots as I'm going through those. But the first one that I tracked was a breakdown of genre. I know that Fable does this as well, but I don't like how they do it because they put like one book into multiple different categories, so I feel like it's not super accurate. They'll put one book into like 4 different genres and I just don't like how they track it. So I put one book to each genre. I didn't assign multiple genres like to one book, if that makes sense. But as you can see, I read a majority of romance and fantasy romance, which makes total sense for my reading. I read 1 historical fiction, which was definitely the Kristen Hanna. I read 4 just normal fantasy and sci-fi books, 8 mystery thriller books, which definitely a lot of those were Freida McFadden for sure. 3 general fiction books, 21 romance books, and then 17 fantasy romance books. So yeah, that is definitely skewing generally in the fantasy and romance categories, which is definitely mainly what I read. Next, in terms of age range, so I read 41 adult books, 13 YA books, and 0 middle grade books, which middle grade, I don't know why I was tracking that because I never read middle grade. YA, I'm definitely not reading as much anymore, almost at all. Majority of this YA section, the 13 books, is Heartstopper, which itself is 5 books. So yeah, that is majority of my YA reading. Other than that, 75%, as you can see, is mainly adult now, and I think it's just gonna keep becoming more and more adult as the years go on. The next thing that I tracked was owned books versus library versus KU. So owned books I read at 25, which was 46%. I read 8 books from the library, 14%, and then KU I read 21, so 38%. I feel like this is actually good. I've read way more owned than I thought. I think in the next years I want to bring down the KU and library books a little bit and then skew owned like up a lot more. And then I also tracked authors I've read from before and new to me authors as well. I read 30 books from authors I've read and then 24 books from authors that are new to me. So 55%, 44%, almost a pretty even split in terms of like that. I feel like it's as even as I'm probably gonna get with this. So yeah, those are just some stats. I think Fable also has like stats of the most authors that you've read. I don't know if I can see that now because they didn't include it in their wrap up, but I think Frida McFadden and Alice Oseman, because I reread the entire Heartstopper series last year, are probably definitely going to be in the top 2 spots. But yeah, those are all these stats. I'm also going to quickly go through a few 2026 reading goals that I have, just because I feel like these two pair together well. My first thing is to finish more series. I've been in a really bad habit of having series that I start and that I read the first book of and then I just never pick it up again. It is not because I don't want to. I like the series, I like the book, and I want to continue. It's just that there's so much coming out these days, so many hyped books all the time. There's always a new book that's like becoming popular in the book space. So I feel like with my urge to just pick up the newest book, I'm just abandoning series, not even intentionally, but just because I just don't have the urge to go back just because there's so much coming out. So this year, I'm probably gonna make this a video series as well, but continuing and finishing series is something I really, really want to prioritize this year. I just don't want to be in the middle of like 100 different series and just keep adding on to it. So yeah, that's definitely one. Another one is to prioritize my physical TBR. I definitely have 50 plus books at this point on my physical TBR, which is a little out of control for me. I know people have their own like lists and they're like hundreds of books long, which I know like a lot of people have that, but for me, the amount of books I have right now is just too much for me. It's almostly overwhelming, and I think it's also the reason why I keep buying books and not reading them, because it's just, I don't know, I just keep adding on to it. It's not a good situation, so I definitely want to focus on this cart as well as this, I don't know if you can see, this stack up here of books that are on my physical TBR. And I will also be probably doing video series as well, trying to like go down on my physical TBR because I really need to get it down. The third goal is to spend more time reading, and this is because in the last year I feel like I saw myself going for my phone a lot more than picking up a book. I think just because of just how social media and short form content is evolving and becoming, it's just kind of taking over my life. And I feel like there was definitely moments where I was going, like, I feel like I'm so brain rotted at this point that there's definitely moments I was going in and picking up my phone when I could have picked up a book. And I feel like I could have finished so many more books if I had just replaced my screen time with reading. Obviously I can't be on my phone like 0 minutes a day, but I think just being a little bit more intentional going into 2026 with not picking up my phone as much and then trying to replace it with something like reading. So yeah, basically less doom scrolling and more reading in 2026. And then the last goal, which kind of goes with some of the other ones, is to buy less books. I feel like 2025 is a big year where I was buying a lot of books, hence why my physical TBR is a little bit out of control for me. But in 2026, I want to definitely buy less books. I think the reason I wanted to buy a lot more books is because I've been collecting books since I was like 13 years old, so a lot of the books on my shelves kind of represent my YA taste, and I kind of wanted my bookshelf to represent my current taste now, so I think I was just buying a lot more books because of that. Also, last year was the first full year that I had like a full-time job, so obviously with having my own like kind of adult money, I have the like disposable income to spend on books. That is also definitely a thing, like a factor into the book buying habits. But I think this year, again, like I said, I want to prioritize more of the physical TBR and not increase it, which means not buying more books. So I think I would want to buy more books if I have read a significant amount of books on my physical TBR. I don't know what that number is right now. Other than that, in terms of genre, it's not really, I don't really want to change anything with that. There's not something that I want to read more of or read less of or anything. I kind of just want to keep going as I'm going. I think fantasy romance and fantasy and romance in general are just genres that I feel myself gravitating more towards too, so I'm just going to keep reading what I want to. I think this year I'm actually going to try a couple of classics. I got Frankenstein and then Wuthering Heights recently from a couple bookstores, and I will be hopefully getting to those in 2026. So a couple classics will be added, which I've never done before. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing some statistics from me, and hopefully it'll be fun to come back next year and see like how the percentages compare to this year's. I think that would be interesting to see. But anyways, let me know down below what was your most read genre last year's. Of course, I would love to know, but that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.